push your own.
Yep. Oh, yeah, I did. Okay, I'd like to call the Board of Public Works meeting to order. So we'll start with Clerk Galeazzi. Could you take roll call, please?
Alderman Taylor.
Here.
Alderman Sevenick.
Here.
Alderman Langdon.
Here?
Alderman Schmidt. Alderman Tom Grady. Alderman Ted Grady. Alderman Repella. Alderman Nichols.
Thank you. First on the agenda is the minutes to approve from the January 6, 2020 meeting. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve
Motion to approve?
minutes of January 6th, 2020.
So much for turning your light on.
Motion been made and seconded.
Okay, motion by Alderman Taylor and a second by
Tom.
Alderman Tom Grady. Okay, those all in favor?
Aye.
Nay? Motion, minutes are approved. We have one discussion action item tonight. And it is 0-02-20, an ordinance modifying section 10-126 of the motor vehicles and traffic ordinances. And that is introduced by Mayor Don Merkus. So, we'll start with Commissioner Adam. Do we have any, you have any, like to?
Just to sort of reiterate what we got here in the memo, with Washington Street being 4 lanes, and as you get to Taco, we do allow parking on Taco. So we have had some complaints, some concerns raised by the public in regards to it. There is a stretch there now that is painted yellow to prevent parking. What we're trying to do here is provide us with the recommended no parking, the recommended length in order to accommodate cars that would happen to be on the, I guess, the outside lane as they approach Main Street, so that there is ample room for them to merge back into the flow of traffic. And we'll provide some signage and possibly pavement markings this spring to address that concern.
Thank you. With that, are there any questions? Okay, you were. Alderman Sevenick?
Thank you, Acting Chair. Adam, I'm very familiar with this. I see it all the time, but I have concerns. Maybe it's happening because the people aren't familiar. Being a lifer here, I know not to go in that lane. But if we're just gonna do it for that one stretch, then what happens to the next block, and then the next block, and then the next block? So you're gonna have a raceway. That's my concern. I'll leave it at that and hear what you have to say about that.
Yeah, if you go down there almost on any day, once you get down beyond that first apartment complex, there generally are vehicles parked there. And so what we're trying to do is based upon the ordinance right now, what we have in the code book is vehicles could be parked closer to Main Street. So what we're trying to do is make sure that we have ample room per the MUTCD to make sure that we can allow traffic that ends up in that far right lane to be able to merge in. And then we figured we would put some signage up to educate and then make sure that we'll obviously paint that curb yellow all the way down then to identify that and put a no parking here to corner sign up as well, so.
Okay, this is for that one block stretch though, right?
Correct, only
Yeah,
that.
I'm just concerned, once you get to that, it's a racetrack, cause that's what happens now.
But they're allowed to park on Taco Street there.
I know, but see what happens is a person gets in that lane, they see a car far enough, okay, they gun it so that they can get back into the left lane, which is ridiculous. So I think there's more to this than just making it no parking there.
Okay.
I don't know, because then it's the next block. Now they gotta merge over, cause they're going straight, most likely. I would say that probably more than half are either turning on Chute Street or continuing to try to go straight. So, yeah, maybe someone got caught, I don't know, how did this come about? Someone probably got caught
Correct.
and got mad and then
Correct.
said, darn it,
And
Mayor,
I've
let's
witnessed
do
it
something."
myself.
I see it all the time.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with it,
Yep.
but don't go in that lane.
But most of the time, there are cars parked up there, you know, the last couple of weeks as we were preparing this and observing this, and legally, they could park closer to Main Street, which would make it even a little more dangerous. Less room for these cars to have to merge to the left. That's where we went and looked at what the MUTCD recommends as far as the speed and then having enough room to merge to the left. So that's why we came up with the 210 feet. Lines up pretty good with one of the utility poles, so we don't have to start plunking poles in for signage and work off the existing signage and provide notice that, hey, you have to merge left. Like, obviously, have been cars there, and they obviously know that they have to, but
Okay, right.
just an attempt to educate.
If we do decide to have this ordinance forwarded to the council, I would want the residents in that area on both sides, not just the one side, to be informed, and we're talking about an apartment complex. So I wouldn't want to ignore the fact that just because it's an apartment, that they're not informed. So I would like for that to be
Okay.
done if possible.
Sure.
Now, I see there's a few more lights on, I'll let them talk.
Alderman Repella?
Thank you very much, Alderman Langdon. On my journeys here tonight, I was coming from the south, and I was in that same situation. I was in the right-hand lane, right next to where the Bryn was. A car was in front of me. We had a red light, so I was waiting. This person obviously waited to the green light. There was nobody parked on Taco Street, gosh, probably for at least 2 or 3 streets. So they waited, and there was another car directly to my left that was going straight. So they continued to have 2 vehicles proceed down, going north on Taco, until one decided to, either get in front or go behind. And then I waited until this person left, and then I took my right-hand turn to come to City Hall. Alderman Garate came up with a nice idea. Why don't you just make that first lane where I was sitting in a right turn lane only? I thought that would be a good idea. Better than my idea of parking a garbage truck there on Taco Street, and they'd run into it. That would force them not to go into that lane.
There's 3 lanes though.
2.
No,
There's only 2 now.
There's two.
And then there's the bump out.
That bump out's gone.
Bump out's gone. See?
So we had,
So then you're right, then that's the solution.
however, we had looked at that. The only concern is for left-hand turns, then you're gonna block up all that traffic.
How many people take a left-hand turn down Coquina Street?
There's some.
Okay,
So-
all right.
So we did look at that, we did consider that, and you know what people are gonna do is that they're gonna shoot around there. Again, what we're trying to do is just make sure that we have ample, room there, no parking, so no one can clog it up any sooner than 210 feet to allow for the traffic to merge. Again, that distance is based upon the MUTC, the Manual Uniform Traffic Control Devices, at that speed to allow for those vehicles that happen to be in that lane to be able to merge back into the flow of
Okay,
traffic.
so what are you gonna put at 210 feet to force them to
No parking
get
here to
over?
corner, and then we'll have signage at the intersection saying that that the lane ends, and then there'll be a merge arrow. And then potentially pavement markings, we really hadn't talked about, we thought maybe signage would be sufficient. Is what we were looking at doing, so.
So there was
any-
no physical thing that you could put there after 210 feet to force them either, holy cow, I'm gonna run into this curb, run into this garbage truck, or run into this and before, park car?
Again, in my travels, there have been like 2 cars almost every day parked up here just beyond the first apartment complex where the driveway comes off of Taco.
Okay.
So there are cars parked there generally a lot of the time. I ain't gonna make any claims here.
No, I
but
mean, there wasn't one tonight at
tonight,
5
but-
o'clock.
But there have been often, at least, especially in the last 2 weeks when we started looking at this, they're always parked there. We were concerned with where we would put this. We didn't want to make sure that, we were to take on-street parking away, from the residents over there, also on the west side. And we followed the manual, and that's where we came up with the footage, and it all makes sense. We shouldn't, really hinder any of the on-street parking that's allowed there for the residents and that,
I agree.
low-income, apartments over here,
Right.
so.
But, okay, so all that's going to keep people from moving over, whatever, is that sign saying, lane ends, move over to your left, or whatever.
Correct.
Okay.
And if there is no car there,
They can
they
keep
got
on going.
more room to go before they have to merge over. But there is a parking allowed from there then all the way up towards, Third Street, so.
Got it. All right, thank you.
Alderman Taylor?
Thank you, Chair. Where you see the sign on your trip diagram here, end of no parking sign, there's a sidewalk that comes out of that apartment complex, and I go by there daily, multiple times, and I see buses stop there, taxi service stops there, Uber, Lyft. So is that still gonna be allowed for them to drop off at that point, or do they have to go up to that power pole that says bus stop? Does it get a bus stop anywhere?
I'm not aware of that, a bus stop being there.
Well, there's a sign that says on one of those poles, at
Is
the
there?
next complex, it's not on the map here, on the Lakeside Commons or whatever
Yep.
I think it's called. There's a sign on that,
Right, and that's
Pole.
where, that's up a little bit further though, is
Up
what
a
you're
little bit
saying,
further,
correct?
yeah.
And that's where you'll see on-street parking on a regular basis right along in there.
okay. So you're just trying to clean up this first 110 feet to allow a car to merge over?
Correct.
Yeah. I travel a lot and I gotta make a right-hand turn 2 blocks down and, you always get over a little bit. You kinda eye up if there's any parking there. It seems like there's always someone parked on the block between, Chute Street and Broad Street. There's always a car out there, so, and everybody's been, I noticed, letting people merge over and, it seems to work pretty good. But you just wanna clear out that first 110 feet.
Just make sure that no one can park there so that they have room to merge,
Okay.
because it has been happening.
Before the next meeting, I agree with Alderman Severnick, if we just let the
Yep.
apartment complex, the 2 homes across the street and that business on
Give them
the,
notice.
on the northwest corner there too. Thanks.
Any other questions? So, okay, do I have a, motion?
No motion.
No motion, so it dies. And with that then, we will, can I have a motion
to
for
adjourn.
adjournment?
I'll move for adjournment.
Alderman, okay, motion to adjourn by Alderman Severnick and second by Alderman Taylor. Thank you.
All those in favor?